Firstly, the UCAT is not your enemy. It is a challenge which, if done well, can reward you greatly by setting you well above your competition. Don't hate it, give it the time it deserves. It is your friend. My name's Sarah, I'm one of the medical student ambassadors. As I'm sure you know already, there's 4 subtests in the UCAT and 1 on situational judgment. I'll talk about each subtest in turn and provide some general advice. Many argue that the UCAT has no relevance to medicine whatsoever. Personally, I dispute this. As a medical student, I need to use pattern recognition all the time. For example, on this scan, I can immediately see that this is a ruptured aortic aneurysm, because I've seen lots of scans before and I now know where to look. Abstract reasoning practices this same skill. When looking through patient notes quickly, I need to pick up key points and know where to find important information. Again, verbal reasoning assesses this skill. Basic math skills like that in quantitative reasoning are also used in normal day-to-day life as a doctor when calculating things like dosage. Scoring highly in the UCAT is almost like a golden ticket to interviews. So how can you score highly in the UCAT? Practice a lot. Start early. If the UCAT is a year away for you, it won't hurt to start familiarising yourself with it now. Personally, my test was in July, so I started consistently practicing soon after my hires were finished. I would recommend at least 6 weeks preparation, practicing little and often for up to 2 hours a day. Some people may not need that long and others may need longer. Try to do at least 30 hours total preparation before the test. So how can you practice? I recommend using the material from the official UCAT website. Everything you need to know is on the website. It has great videos which I highly recommend watching, a fabulous tutorial, and the website also provides you with lots of mock tests, really similar to the real thing. There are also a lot of free resources out there which you could also use if you want even more practice. But take care what you use, as none of these are endorsed by UCAT and may not be too similar to the real test. There are also courses you can pay to go on, but they're a lot of money and they're not really necessary, as UCAT provides you with everything you need to know for free. To start with, do the questions untimed to allow yourself to get a feel on how to approach them. Later, start timing yourself. It's impossible to answer every question with confidence, so sometimes giving an estimated guess and flagging longer and harder questions to go back to later if you have time. It's a good tactic to adopt. Starting with my least favourite section, verbal reasoning. Here I would recommend either skimming the entire passage quickly, looking out for key points such as names, dates, places, peoples, changes, increases, decreases, numbers, and then reading the questions. Or alternatively, you can read the question first, then look for the answer in the passage. Just see which one works best for you. Common mistakes to watch out for are contradictions. You may read a fact about something, but then find the fact is actually contradicted a few sentences later. Leave all outside knowledge behind. For example, if a question states, the capital of France is Paris, if this is not explicitly said in the passage, the answer may in fact be can't tell instead of true. Similarly, never assume anything, keep to the facts in the passage. You may need to look for synonyms of keywords in the passage to find the answer. For example, if you're looking for the word worked, also keep an eye out for words like job, vocation, career. You may also need to use some very basic maths like adding and subtraction to answer some questions, which if you're rushing can catch you out. Abstract reasoning is a section which gets easier the more you do it. If you practice this one enough, you'll start recognizing patterns almost instantly because you'll probably have seen them before. When I started preparing for this section, I felt it helped to write down the different patterns I came across. For example, things like symmetry, colour, number of corners, number of edges, size, shape. And eventually this list of potential patterns didn't get any bigger because I'd seen nearly every possible combination. I would refer to this list to solve the questions, then eventually start doing questions without it because I knew what sort of things to look out for. This section does take a lot of practice, but it does pay off and can bring your overall UCAT score up significantly. Quantitative reasoning. Firstly, practice using the online calculator, and if you can, try and use your keyboard as this saves so much time rather than clicking with the mouse. You may also need to revise things like percentage increase and decrease and basic maths if it's been a while since you've done these things. As with the other sections, make full use of the flag tool. I also found that, since it's multiple choice, you could work out the answer without doing any calculations whatsoever. For example, this question asks what temperature Mercury is when Venus's temperature, which is 480 degrees, is halfway between Earth's temperature and Mercury's temperature. So Mercury must be higher than Venus's, 480. So through the process of elimination, I can see that the answer is E because this is higher than 480 degrees. I didn't need to do any maths there whatsoever. Decision making. You may feel especially pushed for time in this section, as you only have about 1 minute per question, and sometimes there are several parts to it. There are a number of different question styles within this section, so identify which areas you struggle with most and work on these. I recommend looking over basic probability and Venn diagrams. Make full use of your whiteboard and pen. You might find it helps to draw tables, diagrams, and write down information. In this example, the easiest way to work it out is by drawing a Venn diagram. And here in this type of question, I have jotted down notes to allow myself to make sense of the information. As with all the sections, this will take time and practice to familiarise yourself with the question styles and find what techniques work for you. Last but not least, the situational judgment test. Many say you don't need to prepare for the SJT, but I would recommend doing some background reading on medical ethics and confidentiality, as well as the mock SJT on the UCAT website. Have a read of Good Medical Practice by the GMC too. This will also be worth looking at before your interviews. That's all my advice. I hope it's been useful. Get practicing and good luck!